Albertine in Sesame. He died a few years back, and he told me the story, and I tried to tell it the same way. There's a lot of stories of people fighting for their land, or a lot of warrior stories. Nanguit and Ketlo represent this territory here. Nadleh Whut'en is like all the land surrounding the lake. Nadleh Whut'en means like where the salmon come to spawn. Whut'en means the lake. Whut'en. One of these warriors, his name was Nang Gwut. He was a warrior chief for Ketlo. Ketlo was like a pretty big chief, literally, physically too, talking about that's why his name was Ketlo, means big feet. That's where the term come from, big feet, Bigfoot. Old days, those people come from Sasquatch people, and the Sasquatch's homeland is right there. You can see it right from where because it is his land and it's his territory, and that's where he at some point said, okay, we'll let them trade with us, we'll bring in the white people. But unbeknownst to Nang Gwut was some people say he was somewhere up west, and somewhere said he went to the north and then he went to the west. I don't know where he was, but part of his job as a warrior chief, he had to survey all the lands along the borders and perimeters, and kind of like. And another thing was he's always on the lookout for fresh women for hereditary chiefs, because hereditary chiefs they try to keep their blood strong, and they need blood from far away who's not related around here. And that's part of the clan system and the 4 sticks here. You're not supposed to keep the blood strong through the 4 sticks method, where you're not allowed to be related to someone. He was up west somewhere, or up north. We didn't know where the story was, but he was gone for months. It was 1806. I don't know what time of year they built or they constructed. I think it was probably early spring. He didn't know that they were building a fort. It's important to know that Ketlo also was a strong negotiator. He told them they wanted to build a fort over here, over there. He said, no, you're building it right there. And it was like, I guess that's where he wanted it, and they had no choice. They had to build it right there. And they were going to put a perimeter around, but he said, no way, no perimeter either. You just build a house like that. No, none of that barrier that other forts have. So he was insisted. And then also when he found that he was negotiating price so low for the items, the items he was negotiating for so low that the people over here locally would trade it with go to other forts and undercut the other forts, like Fort Alexander. They'd go down there and give the Chilcotins a better deal on, say, yeah, we're going to give it to you for half the price or less than that anyways. So they were doing that, and these people weren't getting any sales. Basically, they were kind of selling it. And there was a record in Victoria showing, my cousin Teddy and they found it. He said these guys, they wanted them to bring in the army and start to kill the people over here because they were taking the business away from the other fort, and they wanted them to bring the army in, but that never happened for whatever reason. Nanguit was coming back, or somebody must have got word to him while he was out in the field that they're building a fort. They told him that he was important, something is happening, that it's important that he come home. He didn't know what it was, but he had to come back. They found him and told him to come back, and it was somewhere up west on Fraser Lake, I don't know where. Somebody met him and said, yeah, they're building a fort. He said, no way, he couldn't believe it. He was really mad about it. He said, no. I said, where is it? He said, and they told him where it was. And then they said, no, it can't be. He didn't think Ketlo would let it happen because Ketlo is really strong, and that's why he kind of was his war chief. Ketlo went ahead with letting them build there, provided they didn't put the perimeter, and he negotiated the prices. But Nanguit didn't want anything to do, and said yes, he built they call it a white man house. Called a white man house, and he wouldn't believe it. But they got closer and closer, and he said, where? He said, over there. And the trees was kind of blocking the way. He couldn't see while the guy was rowing him on a boat, while Nanguit was kind of like standing on the front of the boat, kind of like, I don't believe you, where is it? And then he said, it's over there, and then I couldn't see it, and then they were getting close to the shore, and then Nanguit must have seen, for the first time, seen the house through the trees. As soon as he got view of it, he just started shouting like an animal. He made a strange animal sound, and while he was shouting, he was jumping. He was jumping, and then while he was jumping, he was shouting, making that animal sound. And he turned into an animal. And I tried to find out what was that animal. And they said they didn't know it. They said all they know it was he turned into an animal. Maybe a cat or something. Or they didn't know, they just know it turned into some type of a wild animal. And when the thing managed to jump to the shore, and while he was in mid-jump, he was shouting and turned into an animal. And as soon as he landed on the shore, he was a man standing up and walking. And then he just was walking straight at those people at that fort, and first white man he seen, he grabbed a knife and he was going to kill him. But they subdued him, and then they made him stop, and after they didn't trust him, and they put him on that little rock, Alice. It wasn't far, but it's really deep over there. Maybe you could swim, but you had people on the shore who were kind of like watching that rock from different vantage points. So there was no way he could get away. People all agreed with him to a certain extent that, yeah, we agree with you, they shouldn't be in a fort there. But they didn't want him to stick around because he might get killed here. Nang Gwut circa just call when ya Nang Gwut just call when ya and he must have been here for 3 or 4 nights. And then they said they kept an eye on from different points, making sure he didn't get away. But they let him go anyway. That's what the word is. People say, well, maybe he just shift and fly away. And then the other word is that everybody believed in what he was doing. So nobody wanted to keep him here, so they let him go. And they even, not only let him go, they even told everybody where he went. And they made a song about him. And they just make songs about people who, was important. That's a short song, but this song was kind of talk about with my auntie, my brother, and my dad's uncle, Simo Indley, Simo Thomas. So this is where it was, I guess. It was, and that's the story of Nang Gwut. If you want to kind of bring it fast forward, I think into now, I think we're still having a fight. Our fight is getting stronger. I mean, we got a bigger fight, but everything is kind of like really convenient now. It makes it convenient to forget, or convenient to not live by what the ancestors are talking about. Convenience is a price we pay for our culture. We pray for a better day always. And it's so good to be here. Chanalia for listening. Nang Gwut is name of the warrior that kills people. If you want to translate Nang Gwut to English, maybe as a name, maybe you would call someone Lance. Nang Gwut was a warrior chief for Ketlo, and he was the guy who didn't want the fort built. And that's why he was put on that island. And that's why people forgot about the resistance. There's a certain level of resistance we have to keep alive in our communities to empower our people, especially in the future, because even now we see a lot of young people who might lose sight of how important their being is, and how important, how precious they are to us. And that's the most important, precious, before they talk about the lands and everything.